person, as a good person that I can see you are, you're just saying that. Let me just finish, okay? Like, I'll listen to you, you listen to me, we keep this conversation respectful, all right?
Okay.
You know that a human being is not your property, right? And when you beat somebody, and if they die a day later because you beat them with a rod, you know you should be held accountable for that.
Right.
And I know you know that, so I don't know why you're saying this is just when you know it's not. So I'm not appalled, I'm kind of concerned about your honesty now, whether you're really having an honest conversation or not, all right?
Okay.
Now, what's just about my God in the Quran? It's not just my God, the God that is.
Can I just reply?
Oh, go ahead. You asked me a question, so I was going to answer it. Go
I
ahead.
just don't, that scripture that you're looking at is not a law of God.
The Mosaic laws were laws of God, right? You said that earlier.
Right.
No, wait, I'm sorry. So I asked you earlier who ordained these laws, and you said God did, and now you're saying they're not the laws of God.
When I was talking about the Mosaic laws, talking about the Ten Commandments, I do realize that this is also the Mosaic law to the Jews, right?
Right.
When Moses said you cannot get a divorce, but Jesus then later permitted it.
Jesus did or Paul did?
Jesus did.
Where?
Under a certain
Go ahead.
circumstance.
Go ahead.
I got the translation.
Yeah, that's the translation.
If you want to get back to me later at a different time, it's okay. No pressure. It's not we're not in a debate here. We're having a discussion.
I know.
Okay.
I just,
That's okay. Go ahead.
I don't know this front to back.
That's why I said if you want to get back to me later, no, I'm here every Sunday. Come on back.
Yeah, I might have to go into my phone.
It's okay. Go ahead. Or you want to get back to me, it's okay, but go ahead. So the Mosaic laws were ordained by Jesus, right? That's what you said earlier, so don't flip on me
What
now.
I'm saying is, that's not a law.
That's not a law. So how?
Okay, that
so
was instruction from Moses.
okay,
When,
this is for. Okay, let me.
Moses went up on the mountain, right?
This is not the Ten Commandments.
Right.
Okay,
That's,
so let me.
that's why I'm differentiating.
Okay, so
When
these laws are the laws in Exodus that God, and according to you, that is Jesus, gave for the people of Israel to rule amongst themselves by, right? Meaning, okay,
Right.
so do you
So
believe?
do I think it's just in this circumstance?
Why is it? What's the difference between that circumstance and today?
Because they have a certain culture in which they have
So in some cultures, it's okay to beat your. God made it okay to beat your servant to death. Come on, you know better than this. You be honest with me, please. Let's just be honest. You know that's horrible,
So
right?
let me refer back.
Okay.
And I know I have to find a scripture to prove that.
No, but the fact that you're trying to say that it changed later doesn't really matter because God did ordain it for a people. You believe Jesus ordained that a person can beat their servant to death, and as long as he lives a day, there is no punishment. You believe that?
in the Quran,
That's the Jesus.
can you not-
Again, you're trying to switch to the Quran now, right? But it's okay. Let's switch. In the
Right.
Quran, go ahead. What's in the Quran?
People-
Everything is just in the Quran,
Okay.
and it's applicable for all time.
Okay, so let's go to the root because honestly, I have to really sit down and break down scriptures. And
But again, the concept is not even about scripture. You understand what I'm saying? You're just trying to
You're
debate
nitpicking,
it.
though.
I'm not. I'm
are,
honestly
and I
not.
could do this
I'm.
to-
Please,
honestly,
go ahead.
no,
Please,
no.
please.
I could,
Take it with you. Nitpick it. Bring it back. I'm here.
but that's nitpicking is not.
But you know you
fixing.
can't because the Quran is
No,
just.
I can because
How?
I've had long discussions discussions with Muslims.
Okay, I'm here. I'm Muslim. Have a discussion with me. Show me.
I don't want to nitpick your religion.
I'm not nitpicking. I'm saying
But you are.
this is not a God
Because
that is
you
just.
have not read the entire
I have. Oh, again, you assumed something about me, right?
Okay.
You don't know me.
don't
I have actually, believe it or not, I've actually not just read the Bible multiple times, I've actually studied it with Christians. So don't assume things about me. I used to be amongst Christians. I'm not saying I was a Christian, but I was raised amongst, all my friends were Christian. None of them were Muslim. And I used to go to Bible studies twice a week.
Were you a Muslim then?
No. My family was Muslim, but they were all secularists, right? I had a base belief of being a Muslim, but I didn't pray 5 times a day. I didn't practice. So I was open. So I didn't used to go to a mosque. I used to go to a church. And I studied this Bible cover to cover in a Wednesday youth group, Horizon. You know where Horizon's at? Off of Balboa and Genesee. So don't assume things about me, okay? Now, the thing is, these laws that we find here are, according to you, laws that God ordained for the people of Israel, right? So that's the same God. That's Jesus ordaining these laws. And when you look at a law like this here, if 2 men fight together and the wife of one draws near to rescue her husband from the hand of the one attacking him and puts out her hand and seizes him by the genitals, all right? Then you shall cut off her hand and your eye shall not pity her. Do you understand the context there? 2 men get in a fight. The wife of one tries to help her husband. You have to cut off her hand and you can't pity her. You think that's just?
That was the law.
So you think that's justice?
That was the rule for them in their
And
time.
so Jesus ordained that law. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We're just getting started. What do you mean wrap it up?
I know, I'm sorry.
Look, let me just say one thing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I said the
232.
same thing to the other fellows that I was talking to. I don't want to nitpick because I think, and I know you don't think you're nitpicking.
Okay.
I personally think you are. I want to get down to the basis of
Okay.
what each of our religions.
Excellent. Let's do that.
Because that's what's going to
Okay.
determine if we go to heaven or not, right?
Okay, but let me just say one thing before, and we'll discuss the basis. You base your basis on understanding things from the Bible.
Right.
So when I find things in the Bible I cannot believe are from God, because I find them not just at all, I find them disgusting. You cut off a woman's hand for just trying to help her husband and not pity her. You beat a servant to death and you don't have any consequences because he lived a day. I cannot base my salvation on a book like this. Okay? That's the first thing. So I'm not being nitpicky. I'm trying to see this Quran I've also read and studied cover to cover. There is not a word in it that I have a problem with. I find it to be a 100% just, fair, and for all time. It's not like one culture is okay and one culture is not. I don't find
I have
it.
a question for you.
Go ahead.
If I were to write a book that was perfect and moral and just, would you then base all your beliefs on it because it's better?
Great question.
Right?
You as a human being
Right.
have, and me as a human being can never write something like the Quran.
Okay.
And that's a challenge in the Quran. That if this was from anybody other than Allah, you would have found the same kind of contradictions and mistakes, but you don't, because it's the words of the Creator. La rayba fihi. There is no doubt in it. And this challenge has been put out since the time of the Prophet Muhammad when the Quran was revealed till you've heard of it, right?
I've heard of it.
And nobody's been able to match it, because not just that it's just, there is also the linguistic miracles in it. There is the news of the past that the Prophet didn't know about. There are scientific miracles in it. And if you have time, I can go over them right now. But if not, come back. We don't pressure you.
It's missing the greatest miracle, though.
What's the greatest miracle?
Christ raising from the dead.
Wait, why is that the greatest miracle? Don't you think Adam being born without a father or mother, or many other people that were born without parents, is that not a miracle?
That's not even a miracle.
Now Christ rising from the dead, where did you get that from?
Adam and Eve.
Wait, I'm sorry. Christ rising from the dead, where did you get that information? Wait, hold on. So let's discuss it. Because you mentioned a miracle, I just want to understand. Where did you find out that Christ rose from the dead?
From the prophets.
Which prophet did you speak to?
Not just the prophets.
Which
but
prophet?
The disciples.
Okay,
Historical context.
excellent.
Even historians who don't even
Excellent.
believe in the Bible, who probably would mock Christ, believe that he lived here and he
But he
died.
didn't rise from the dead. The
But there
historians
are
do not
many
believe
account
that.
witnesses
Okay.
that say
Can you
he
name
lived
one?
here. Can I name them?
Yeah, one eyewitness that wrote it down himself. You cannot.
No.
Because there were none.
That's
The earliest scriptures that you have for the New Testament talking about the rising and the contradictions there, when he rose, what day was he crucified, are all over. You know that, right?
I feel like we're going in a circle.
No. Because see, again, you're basing your religion and your greatest miracle on a book that you don't even know who wrote these scriptures.
I do.
Who wrote them?
I do. The
Who wrote them?
prophets and the disciples.
Which prophets? Name them.
Yes, the prophets.
Can you?
Daniel.
So you're saying.
Their names are the titles of the chapters.
But that's the thing you're missing that you haven't researched. Is they're named after them. The gospel according to Mark. It's not written by Mark.
Okay.
Most of the apostles and most of the
And where do you get
disciples
that information
from historic research. Can you tell me what is the earliest?
The Quran.
Excellent. Do you want to jump from here to there now, or do you want me to explain the Bible to you first?
I'm sorry, but I don't need you to explain it.
But I think you do, unfortunately. And I know you have this pride right now that you don't want to.
No, I don't.
But do you know what is the earliest manuscript of the Bible? The New Testament.
Earliest manuscript
Yeah.
of the New Testament.
So you don't, right? So you do need me to help you?
I don't need your words to affirm my belief in the Bible.
But that's the problem. You're affirming your belief on something that you know is not the writings of the disciples of Christ.
No, I don't know that.
How do you know that it is? Because they didn't write. Most of them were Aramaic-speaking fishermen. What are the earliest testaments in? The earliest copies. Again, you don't want to learn. Like you just want to blindly believe. But I'm trying to help you.
I really don't.
Please listen.
Can
The earliest writings are in Koine Greek. Did the disciples write in Koine Greek, or were they Aramaic speakers?
They were translations.
Excellent. So they're not the writings
And so
of
is the
those.
Quran.
No, it's not. No, it's
There are
not. So now let me explain the Quran to you.
Okay,
Now, can I speak now or no? Do you want me to speak?
No, I don't.
You don't want me to speak because you know it's the truth
because you're
and you know it's making sense to you.
What's your
Please, Othman.
What's that?
Othman.
Othman?
You don't want me to speak, then how are we gonna have a conversation?
Because you've been speaking for like 5
No,
months.
I listen to you. You speak, I will be quiet. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you guys have a YouTube, by the way?
We do. Yeah, it's
Okay.
called
I
One
don't-
Message
I
Foundation.
don't mind. Okay.
Go ahead.
We can go back and forth, and that's why I said I feel like we're going full circle. I've done the research.
Okay.
I'm not a historian. I'm 18 years old. I have not.
Excellent.
I don't have a brain that memorizes things like crazy. That's why I cannot come back. Like I have notes, but I don't want to go over that. Not because I want to blindly believe. I don't, because I've done the research. I've done the research about the Quran. I've done the research about the other religions that set up their 10 series. My main thing that I'm concerned about is the core belief of Islam and the core belief of Christianity. We can go back and forth and argue. I know why you don't believe in the Bible. I don't want to go back and forth and nitpick. Because if I really took the time, if you want me to, you want to give me scriptures you don't understand, I'll come back and I'll write
I do.
down. Okay.
But I'm just gonna be quiet right now because I'm only listening.
Okay, and you can write them down and I'll come back. And I'm sure if I did that for the Quran, you would do the same thing. So
I'm just listening.
right. So I don't want to do that, but I do want to go to the core thing. And I was talking to these guys over here, and I told them, how can your God be just? And they couldn't. He said, I don't even want to define justice. Because
I'll answer you.
If you truly define justice, you would find that Allah is not just.
That's wrong.
Okay. Go ahead. Respond.
Okay. So now you see I let you speak, so you're gonna let me speak now, right?
Yeah.
There you go. First thing, just so you understand, the earliest New Testament manuscripts are Codex Sinaiticus, which is from the 4th century. So when you go home, look this up. Okay? 4th century. That means we're talking about 400 years later, around 330 to 360, and they're written in Koine Greek. Now, if you look at the differences between manuscripts and you get the Greek manuscripts, almost every page has clear differences. Many of the verses, that's why you have a different Bible the Catholics have. They have different numbers of books. Different one that Jehovah's Witnesses have. They have different verses. You have differences between the King James Version and the new versions and numeric differences. Go home and look this up. You're basing your salvation on a book. You better know that it's really from God, right? And this is why the Gospel of Matthew and many of those verses that you see are clearly not from Matthew. Even Christian preachers will tell you that some of these were written by others, right? So Luke wrote some, and you can go home and research this. There's a professor, Dr. Bart Ehrman. You can look him. He's an atheist. He's not a Muslim. He's not a Christian. Excellent. Watch his videos. Just from a historic perspective. Clearly, historians do not believe, other than those that are believing from a Christian belief, that Jesus rose from the dead. Go look it up. Look up the historic research, right? We do not have a single eyewitness account of that rising that wrote down their own account. We have writings that are hundreds of years later, some of them 40, 70 years later, that talk about and ascribe them. They speak to about the person in third person. Mark said, so it's not his own writing. When you go home, research this. I'm not here to debate. I'm here to open your mind, but if you want it to be open.
I know,
okay?
I know. When I came
Excellent.
up here, I was worried that this was going to turn to debate.
No. This is a discussion. It's a conversation. Excellent.
They've always been respectful, so I appreciate
Good.
that.
Let me give you an example for you to research when you go home.
Or could you do that after? Could you answer my question first?
Okay, as you like.
Just so
Okay,
how
no
is your,
problem.
Right.
Whatever you like. Okay?
How is your God just?
Excellent. My God created everything in justice, right? Meaning, first thing, in a balance, right? And He gave everybody their places. And He gave His laws to rule by. And those laws were the same message, the same basic message from day one till the day of judgment, which is believe in that one Creator, follow the Prophet of your time, do what is ordained, stay away from what is wrong, and you enter heaven. My God didn't switch up the game. He didn't say, okay, Jews, you guys have to kill people and you have to shed blood and you have to do this. But Christian, you just believe in Jesus. You guys have to beat people and beat your slaves and attack, and then later on, you don't have to. To me, that's not just. My God sent the same rules. From Adam till the Prophet Mohammed, peace be upon all of them, we believe in all those prophets, and my God sent the same message. Believe in the Prophet of your time, believe in God, do what's good, try your best, and this is it. That is justice. My God laid down laws that are just. If you kill somebody, your life would be taken unless they forgive you, unless it was an accident, unless there is reasons, right? So that's justice. My God ordained that everybody is accountable for their own deeds. That's justice.
I would say
Let me finish, please. Let me finish. Right? We had that, right?
Yeah.
So, let's see this. If we look at you go out and you kill somebody today. You take a knife and you do it in the park and you kill somebody. And I put this young man in jail for you, even if he volunteers. That's not just because you did the crime and he did the time. This is injustice. If you say people are born with sin, to me that's unjust. Why? Because you did something and your children and their children and their children and their children are born with sin. They are held accountable for a deed they didn't do. To me that's unjust. My God that I believe in, and that is your God, whether you believe it or not, Allah is everybody's God, right? Ordained that everybody is accountable for their own actions. So a child is born pure. You could be the son of Charles Manson or Hitler, but you're born pure because you didn't commit those deeds. You are not held accountable. When you're a little child, you're not held accountable. When you hit the age of puberty, of bulugh, when you can know right from wrong, from then on you are held accountable for only your deeds.
Okay.
That's just.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, how will your sins be paid for?
Excellent.
What besides forgiveness? So you said forgiveness, right? And you have your forgiveness and you have your good deeds. That's how you're entering. If you were to, that's how you're entering the kingdom of God.
You want me to answer?
If God is
You asked
just,
the question.
that's like a judge saying, "Okay, you've done your good deeds. I forgive you. I know you murdered those people, but I forgive you."
Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Excellent. So, there are two types of sins. You with me?
Okay.
One is when you take huququllah, when you take the rights of God. And one is when you take huquq al-ibad, the rights of people. Okay? So, if you kill somebody, you took somebody's right.
Okay.
Right? You took their life. Now, you have to square it up with them. Right? Meaning, if in this world you're held accountable, your life is taken, you paid for your sin, then in the hereafter you're done. You paid your due. You got me? But if you sin against God, let's say you were lazy on your prayers, right? Then you can ask forgiveness from God and God can forgive you. But you will square up. That's the justice of Islam.
Forgiveness is not justice.
Did you just hear what I said?
I do.
You didn't. Let me say it again because you see what you did is you just filtered because you didn't want to hear me because you know that's just. Let me say it again. Let me just say it again. When somebody sins against another person, okay, God will not forgive them that right that they have taken without making it fair between them. Like let's say you don't go to court. In the hereafter, your deeds will be given to that person to make it fair, just. That's the justice of Allah, right? where if you take somebody's rights,
like a
you
payment.
have, yes, but to the person that you violated from,
Right.
okay? Then if your sin is against God, God has a right to forgive, and He forgives, and that's justice and it's mercy, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say you step on my foot, right? You hurt me, right? I have a right. I can say, hey, you hurt me, right? But I can say, you know what? I forgive you because you hurt me. I forgive you. That's justice, and it's more than justice, mercy, right? But if you slap that lady, and I say, hey, I forgive you, that would not be fair because she is the one that got harmed. But in Islam, we have that justice, where if you harm her, then she has to be paid what you owe her for harming her. But if you harm God, God can forgive you. That is the mercy of God.
So in your religion, how do you...
That made sense, didn't it?
It is. It is.
Thank you. I just appreciate that you're honest, though. At least you said it makes sense.
I understand your way of thinking.
Excellent. You see the justice there.
I don't see the justice.
Come on. You know you do. Let's be honest.
I understand your way of thinking.
Okay.
Let me just say that.
So let me ask you, how is your God just?
Well, I just have a question.
You don't want to answer that one.
No, I do.
Right,
I definitely do.
Go ahead.
That's the whole point of my whole religion.
Excellent.
Right?
I'm here.
But I just want to, because I'm a little confused about this.
And if we destroy that whole point, are you going to become Muslim? Are you open to finding the truth, or are you just like, no, my mind's made?
My mind is made.
Yeah, but see, that's not very open-minded, right? Like, how are people going to have conversations when you're like, I don't want to hear the truth?
No, my ears are open. They're always
But
open.
you just said your mind is made. Your mind has to be open. Like, my mind is open.
Because it's convinced by God. But
No. God gives you this faculty to know right from wrong. If you're going to take one idea and say, no, I'm just going to stick to this no matter what, then your mind's not open, right? Imagine you were born in a Hindu household, then you would be like, I'm just going to stay. Like, this guy was Christian, that guy was Christian. They're Muslim today because they were open-minded enough to accept the truth. Are you that open-minded to accept the truth? Excellent.
I've jumped from...
Excellent.
I didn't really grow up in a Christian household. I'm touched in like Buddhism and a whole bunch of...
But not
other
Islam.
stuff.
You've never really studied Islam. I can tell.
No, I've studied it.
Yeah.
Not to the depth that you've studied
No,
it.
not my depth. Have you read the Quran, the whole thing, cover to cover?
I have not.
So there's a good beginning. Okay. So now, do you want to explain justice in your
I just
religion?
want to ask that question.
Go ahead.
So you said if I slap the lady, right?
Yeah.
Is it the payment? So for us to be right with each other, how I have to give her something? What do I have to do?
Sure. So first thing, you slapped her, you harmed her.
Okay.
So now it's her right. You have violated her. She can take you to court. An Islamic judge would judge. She can either say, you know what, because of her, my getting slapped, I had to go to the doctor. I had to do these. You gotta, pay me these medical bills. Or she can say, I forgive you. That's between you and her. Whatever is going to make that right.
Okay.
But that's between you and her.
So if I was, let's say, I hurt my dad, I slapped him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Islamic. I just
Muslim.
okay, my bad.
The
And
word's
then-
Muslim.
Right. Okay. I'm not Muslim.
Yeah.
And then years later, I become a Muslim, and I realize, oh, I've done terrible things.
Right.
How am I supposed to right all those wrongs? Let's say my
Excellent.
dad passed away. a long time
Great
ago.
question. So in that situation, let me give you two case scenarios, right? One is you stole some money from somebody,
Okay.
right? Let's say you saw that lady, you walked up with her with a gun, you took her money, and then later you want to repent, right? You become Muslim, right? Here, you can take that amount of money and try to find her, if she's already passed away, her family, her children, and give that back. If you're unable to, let's say with a different city and all of that, you can take that money and give it in charity, right? You can do your part to right it. You understand what I'm saying? Let's say, now the example you gave where you slapped your dad, a little bit different, but that's your father, right? Now he's passed away. You can ask forgiveness for him. You can repent at that moment. And then on the day of judgment, it will be between you and him. Okay? He can ask for some of your good deeds in lieu. But, if it's your father, most likely he will forgive you, being happy that you turned a good leaf, right? So, justice will always be there between you.
And if he doesn't forgive me,
Then he takes some of your good deeds.
how can you do that?
On the day of judgment, you have scales. Okay? You have your good deeds and you have your bad deeds. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So let's say in your case scenario, you became Muslim, you started to go for pilgrimage and fasting and praying and giving money to the poor. So you stacked up a lot of good deeds. On the day of judgment now, let's say you were backbiting somebody, you were harming somebody. They will come and say, Ya Allah, she took my rights. Right? Allah will say, we will have to have justice here. So some of your good deeds will be given to them. If your good deeds run out, you will start taking their bad deeds. But this is justice between people.
I'm just
It makes sense. Come on, you
No,
know it
I'm a little
does. You know it
confused because
does.
I don't know
I
how
can
you're-
tell. I can tell from your body language that you
No.
know it makes sense.
No, I'm just.
But you're trying to.
extremely-
You're like no.
No, I'm just really comfortable because I've
All
had
right,
a lot
good.
of these conversations. I just can't wrap my mind around how
Justice?
how deeds can be on a scale like.
Oh really? Wow.
really can't,
That's
yeah.
okay. So let me explain it.
Because personally, I don't believe that I've done anything good.
You've never done anything good. When you smile at somebody, you think that's something good.
I think it's beautiful, but I don't think it's.
You don't think it's a good deed, really?
I
So if you feed a hungry person, like a homeless person, you don't think that's a good deed?
don't think it accounts towards anything.
Wow, that's pretty sad.
I don't.
So why would people do good things?
Because it's the right thing to do.
But it doesn't account. It doesn't benefit you any.
I don't have. See.
Right? Go ahead.
That's where you.
Okay,
don't
go ahead.
understand.
Yeah.
I don't have to have a reward to
Right.
do something good.
Okay, but
The same way
let
Christ
me.
had no reward in doing and dying on the cross. he
Christ.
did it-
Okay, so let's go back to that because we haven't even discussed that.
Right, we
Okay.
haven't.
So first thing, let me just say this,
Okay.
and then I want you to explain justice because you still haven't
Right.
done that yet.
Okay.
The reason people do good is for a reward. That is basic human, how Allah created humans, right? Meaning, if you were told, go to work and you're never going to get paid, I guarantee you these people wouldn't be going to work, right? If you were told you can steal all you want and nobody will arrest you, I guarantee you that most people will steal,
I agree.
right? So this is the thing, that there is always, why did God create a heaven? That's a reward. That's a place to get to. So if there is nothing to work for, then why would there even be a heaven? Why would there be a hell to punish? You see what I'm saying? So heaven is a reward that you work for. As a Christian, from what I understood, and again, you are giving me a different answer than most Christians, that you do good deeds and you do get reward from God. You get rewarded from doing good. That's why you're encouraged to give food to the needy and help the people in need, and you will be rewarded for it. But that's interesting that you say that you won't.
No,
That's
okay,
that's
I put that
understandable.
wrong. You will be rewarded for it, but that's not why.
So there is reward.
There is reward.
Okay, so we're changing this up again now because
Yeah,
earlier.
Sorry,
all right.
I was talking about.
It's okay.
But,
Okay, I just want to understand the Christian
right.
because
The Christian worldview, yes, there are rewards for doing good things.
okay, so
But
there
that
isn't.
is not the factor that gets you into heaven, which you call the good thing, right?
So we don't believe it's just good deeds. First is a belief, aqidah, and then good deeds with that. So let's go back to now your idea of justice. Go ahead.
Justice is
Uh huh.
you commit a crime,
Okay.
that crime is paid for.
By who?
Right. By who?
So that's not justice because let me explain that.
But-
Let me just because I want to have this conversation. There's a guy here. I shoot him.
Right.
I kill him, and you arrest that lady.
Right.
That is not justice.
It's not.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So if I shoot him, I should be held accountable because I did it.
Should.
Good.
Okay.
How's your
How
idea
does
of
a
justice?
Christian view work into that?
Justice.
Let me-
What is justice
right.
according to your God?
Let
That
me
was
use
the.
an example.
Okay.
I go and I.
I'm sorry. Were you explaining justice?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's say I'm on the street, I'm driving.
Okay.
I get a speeding ticket.
Yes.
I go to court.
Mhm.
They say, I know you're young. Look, we're not going to punish you. I'm going to give you mercy. This guy's going to offer to pay for your ticket.
Okay.
You're free to go because it's paid for.
Okay.
Justice was still met because it's paid for.
Okay.
And even in your religion, you would say that's the second type of sin, right? Where you sin against, I guess that would be the government, and then it has to be paid for with money, right?
Okay.
So it's good. It's equal. You're fine.
I'm just listening. So.
Right. That's the Christian view.
Okay. Let me explain that now. Okay. In the example you gave, nobody was harmed,
Okay.
right?
Right.
So let's take a better example. Let's say you're
But
driving.
a law was broken.
Sure.
Right.
And as I said, when you break the laws of God, God can forgive you. That's perfectly fine. Nobody even has to pay for it. God can just forgive. God is forgiving. A court in America can just forgive your speeding. Many times you go to court and they say you're young, you have no violations, I'm going to write it off. Makes sense. Just, no problem. Let's say another example, you got drunk, even though you're 18, right? And you were driving drunk and you hit somebody and you killed a child in that car.
Okay.
Now you go to court. Go ahead. How's your justice work in your religion?
On the scale of the government.
No. In your religion, your concept of justice, because you gave that example of driving
Right, I'm using
and
the
a court.
government, So
Yeah, no. Don't switch up your example now. So exact same example. The scenario now is you've killed a child being drunk driving. How does the judge in your religion carry out justice?
Okay. The judge will send that person to jail for a murder sentence.
Excellent. That's Islam. That's not Christianity. Because then you no. You know you've just switched it up. Your example was that Jesus would pay for your sins. And in that example, if you say that you got drunk, got behind the wheel, hit somebody, killed a child, went to court, and the judge says, you're 18, I'm going to put that guy in jail for you, that is not justice, that is not mercy, that is not fair.
What is mercy?
To kill. I mean, come on.
What is mercy?
Okay,
No,
let me explain mercy now, okay?
Okay.
Allah is the most merciful. That's why His names are Ar-Rahman wa Rahim. In the beginning, when we begin in the Quran, do you know what that is?
No.
And see, you haven't studied Islam. I mean, you may think you have, but you haven't. This is just very basic stuff, right? I would love for you to, because I can tell that you know it's the truth, but you see this. Let me explain this. You see this twitching right here? I study psychology. You see this twitching? That means you're not comfortable. That means you realize.
No,
look, this is giving it away. I know Farasa, trust me, right?
I could say the same thing about you.
Am I twitching? Am I nervous?
Right.
Am I rambling? Not rambling at all. Okay. So now,
because you bring up the same points.
it's not the same point. You brought up an example, and I gave you a different example. What's up, bro? How you doing, man?